Hi, welcome. This is Allison, and I am attempting here to make sure that, wait 1 second. Okay. I just have to make sure I don't have feedback on another line. Let's see how that works. Okay. Okay. I think we'll just have to let that go. Okay. All right. Um, Something else picking up my voice. There we go. I got it. I figured it out. Okay, just trying to be technologically savvy here. It doesn't always work, but sometimes, just every now and then, I'm able to figure it out. All right, let me introduce myself again. I'm Allison Bonilla. I'm a professional life strategist with Allison B Coaching. And if you are within the sound of my voice and you're watching this, I'd love to know where you're hearing it from, because I also want to monitor the comments and monitor the chat to make sure I see everybody and I know where everybody is from. All right. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the process of evaluation and the need for it. If you work in a corporate structure, you're probably very, very comfortable with evaluation. You've been evaluated, you've had your annual evaluations. Sometimes people have quarterly evaluations. And those evaluations are usually tied to benefits and promotions, bonuses, pay raises, promotions, recognition even. You get plaques, you get everybody clapping for you if you did really well. And in some instances, it's tied to job security. So there's a reason for those evaluations. The corporation is not just only looking at to hand out trophies and things, but they're also looking to see where they need to provide maybe professional development opportunities, places where they could cover some gaps in your knowledge base or your skill, and that comes out through the evaluation. If you're like most people, you're not looking forward to your evaluation. Sometimes people do look forward to it because they know that they're going to get an excellent evaluation. Maybe they've been clued into it by things middle management or management has said to them. However, many solopreneurs and entrepreneurs don't really think about evaluations. They think to themselves, well, who's going to evaluate me? I'm my own boss. I have my own business. There's nobody looking over my shoulder telling me what to do. Basically, I'm my own show. So who's going to give me a performance review? Who's going to give me feedback and help me to grow and develop my skill set in a way that will move my business forward? Usually there isn't anybody. Now, in today's culture, you go out to just get a cup of coffee. Before you even get back to your car or the coffee gets a little bit cooled off, there's something on your phone asking for an evaluation of the service, an evaluation of the cashier that checked you out. There's somebody asking you to evaluate them. Did you like our service? Was the store clean? Did you receive your item promptly? We're constantly filling out surveys where we're evaluating products or people. But many solopreneurs don't do that. We don't send out an app after you've sent out a notice after you've purchased an item saying, oh, you just purchased a sweatshirt from my store. Did you find it comfortable? Was it the right color? Did it arrive on time? How would you evaluate our checkout process? Many small businesses don't do that. They don't take that opportunity to seek out feedback and to get evaluations from their customer bases. And I think that's a missed opportunity. Having been in business for myself for over 30 years, I know that many times we kind of feel like we're not Amazon, we're not a big box store. We don't need to get those evaluations. But I think we're missing a key aspect of those evaluations by just not seeking to get them. Let me backtrack a little bit and tell you what made me even think of this topic for today. I have just recently finished a program that went for the month of November, where I met each Monday in November with a mini mastermind, a group that it was called Entrepreneur's Edge. And we met and we did the program. And at the end of the program, I presented the participants with an evaluation. And I want to tell you why I presented them with an evaluation form. I want to grow. I want to do better. I think the program went well, but what if I'm wrong? The only one who could tell me that are the people who actually participated in it. So I provided them an evaluation to fill out and asked them, could they please fill it out and submit it back to me so that I would have some knowledge of what it was like on their end. I know what it was like on my end. I loved it. I thought everything went well. I saw their progress and their growth, but did they see their progress and their growth? Did they value it? They paid me for it, but did they feel that they received value for what they paid? I want to know that. If I'm to provide that to anybody again, I need to be able to know what it is worked and what didn't work. So when we engage in a process of having our product, our services, or even our process evaluated, we're measuring the success and we're able to have a bird's eye view of progress. It helps you track your services and it helps you look and see if you're achieving your goals. By regularly assessing for outcomes, you're going to be able to identify what's working, and then you're going to be able to make informed decisions about future growth. I plan on doing this workshop again, the Entrepreneur's Edge. And I want to know where I could do better and what really works, so I make sure I keep those parts of the program in. The next thing I want to make sure about with the evaluation is that I get information in there that will help me improve the quality of the program. There are many ways to design an evaluation, but you want to ask questions on several levels. Something could be good, but can it be better? Can the quality be improved? Sometimes it's about processes. And I know one thing that needs to be improved for me with regards to Entrepreneur's Edge, we had a lot of technological difficulties. So I may just change the platform that I offer it on. I may take it and put it into a different platform where the ease of technology access will be a little bit easier for the participants, because we wasted a lot of time trying to get online and trying to make sure everybody was heard and seen and things like that. So I want to improve the efficiency. I'm going to be looking to see if some of that comes back in the evaluation. From where I stood, I saw that as something that I needed to work on. So evaluations can reveal the areas that need improvements, definitely. And it could help you refine your offerings and then streamline your process. Our very hard onboarding process is never going to be good. And you want to be able to ensure that you consistently deliver the value to your clients or your customers. So make sure if you do an evaluation, it asks for questions that'll give you feedback on that. The other aspect of an evaluation that you want to make sure about is, give me a second here, I realize I didn't do something here. You want to make sure that the evaluation, when you get it back, you read it and you pay attention, because it'll give you ideas of how to adapt and how to make the changes. I remember doing workshops, and at the end of my workshops, I would have paper evaluations. And I don't know about other people, but I keep my paper evaluations. And they're very good because I would look back on them and I would read. There would be areas, it's hard to see on here. Can I get it up? Okay, it's hard to see. But there would be areas where you would rate from 1 to 5. And then there would be areas where the participants could write. And I love the areas where the participants could write their thoughts, because I'm going to read you one example on this evaluation. One of the questions was, what skills did you learn that may help prepare you for engaging in a healthy life? So this was a workshop on stress management. But I also asked a question, were your personal learning goals for the workshop met? If no, please describe those expectations that were not met. You see, I'm not afraid of a no. I want to know if they weren't met, exactly what was it they were expecting in that workshop, because the next time I run it, I want to make sure those things are in there. So when you receive feedback and evaluations, a solid evaluation process keeps you tuned to shifts in the market's demands or your client's expectations. And it allows you to adapt and stay relevant, especially if you're in a competitive landscape. That's one of the values of having an evaluation process. All right, so I'm going to go back to comments here. If someone's on here, just kind of let me know with a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I want to know, how excited are you when you're told that you're going to be evaluated or you're going to enter some kind of evaluation process? I'd be interested to see how other people feel about being evaluated. All right, evaluations aren't also only about other people. If you are self-employed or if you're solopreneur or entrepreneur, as I said earlier, there's nobody looking over your shoulder. But you have to be willing to self-evaluate. It's one thing if your customer or your client base gives you an evaluation, but are you yourself taking the time to self-evaluate? You need to evaluate if you want to elevate. You need to be able to look at your business performance and ask yourself these questions. Are your financial goals being met? I mean, when you're in business, you're not just in business to be in business. Usually you're working to meet a revenue goal. You may have a why that's more mission oriented. But if it's a business, not just a ministry, but if it's a business, you also want to make sure that you meet the financial goals that you've set out to. So you're going to ask yourself some questions about your offerings, your products, and your services. Are they meeting your clients' needs? Think about that. That's part of the evaluation you want to do. The next thing you want to do also, you want to look at your marketing and your visibility. I know for many years I struggled with that. I struggled with being visible and putting myself out there in the marketplace. But if you have a product or service to offer, if you don't put yourself out there, how are people going to find you? That's why branding and messaging is so important. You want to make sure it resonates with your target audience. Evaluating that will help you to know whether you're attracting the right people, if your message is resonating with the right people. And a good evaluation will do that. I know that I've sometimes done services or workshops, and I got feedback where I thought, well, I was speaking to the right group, and I realized wasn't. And the group that responded most positively weren't the people that I was expected. So with that feedback, you do something about it. You look at the marketing strategies and you recognize, oh, wait a second, maybe I need to shift it a little bit, or maybe this is my right target audience and I was focused on the wrong thing before. But you make informed decisions. Also, with evaluations, you want to evaluate your personal productivity. For solopreneurs and entrepreneurs, this is so important because, again, nobody's looking over our shoulders. So are you managing your time effectively? Are you prioritizing the tasks that align with your goals? In our Entrepreneur's Edge workshop, Mini Mastermind, we talked a lot about that. We talked about things that are urgent and things that are important, the Eisenhower matrix, making sure that we are not conflating those two, making sure that we're focused on the things that need to get done. Sometimes there are things that seem urgent that really aren't. They're urgent because somebody else said they were urgent, but maybe they're really not. So you have to be able to evaluate that and look at it and make sure that you are applying your time and your energy in the right way. We looked at scheduling and making sure that the important tasks are put in your high energy slots on your calendar. And you're not just wasting your time doing a lot of low urgency or low things that are of lesser importance, and you're putting that in your prime real estate of time where you have all the energy and your brain is just sparking on all cylinders. So you want to check in your personal productivity and evaluate for that. Are you letting distractions cause you to be less efficient? And that is pulling you away from your goals. Evaluate for that. If you find there's a gap there or a lack there, that's a place that needs improvement. What are you going to do in 2025 to improve that so it doesn't happen again? You also want to look at your full work-life balance. Even though you're engaged in a marketplace, whether as an entrepreneur, solopreneur, or someone who is employed by a company, you don't want to, that's not going to be your whole life. It shouldn't be your whole life. Hopefully you have a life outside of that. Hence the word work-life balance. There's work and then there's life. Work should not be life. Work is a part of what you do. So are you maintaining healthy boundaries between work and your personal life? At the end of the day, you don't want to be fully successful at work and a total dud in your personal life, not having good and healthy relationships. So you need to take care of your physical, your emotional, your spiritual health and well-being. You want to make sure you make time for all those things and be intentional about it. It doesn't just happen, people. You have to make time for it. So you want to evaluate, did you make good time for that? If you did not make good time for it, what are you going to do next year? Are you going to do the same old, more of the same? Do the same thing over and over again in the same way, you get the same result. If you're happy with the result that you're having right now at the end of the year, no reason to change, right? But if you're not happy with it or you see some room for improvement, now is a good time to plan for that improvement. Then you also want to look at your client relationships and the feedback, taking us back to external evaluations too. Are you building a strong trust-based relationships with your clients? And if not, why? Evaluate that. Why? Are you actively seeking to incorporate their feedback so that you can improve your services? If they are telling you stuff, listen. Now, there are times when we don't listen, and we don't listen for particular reasons. And I want to address that a little bit too. What are some reasons sometimes we do not take feedback, or we don't even solicit them or seek them out? Well, one of the reasons is fear of criticism or failure. If every feedback could be glowing, if every evaluation could be glowing, you're great, you're wonderful, you did an excellent job, you're 10 out of 10, we'd be running after them left and right. But there is that niggling doubt in the back of our head that says, What if somebody criticizes me? What if somebody says something about my service or my product that I don't like, that makes me feel bad? You have to remember certain things. You have to remember first, why are you doing this? Who are you serving? Colossians 3:23 says, whatever you do, at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters. So that means you just shift your focus from pleasing people to honoring God through your efforts. And just to be, have integrity about what you're doing. If you know that you are doing the best that you can and you're doing it for the right reason, then don't worry about the criticism. You know, in all truth, not everybody's going to love you. I've done workshops where I've gotten back 30, 40 evaluations, and 80% of them were great. You were wonderful. You rocked, Allison. I learned so much, so forth. And then there'd be that few percentage, a little 10% of them or whatever, would be like, oh, I didn't get anything out of it. Oh, it wasn't that great. Da, 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 da. Do I, you know, do I look at those and then let that cause me not to move forward? No, I pay attention if there's some concrete things that they're saying that lets me know why they did not value it highly, and I make those changes if they're reasonable. I remember one time I did a workshop and I got great evaluations from everybody, but then there was this one person who gave me a very mediocre kind of evaluation. So I was very curious as to why. And it turned out the time of the workshop was not to this person's liking. It was an afternoon workshop, and she thought, why couldn't you have had it earlier in the day? I'm very tired later on. Now, I didn't choose to put that workshop at that time. I was part of a larger convention, a conference, and they put me after lunch, which is, that is not the spot anybody ever wants to take. But they put me after lunch, so I didn't really have a choice in the matter. It was where they slotted my workshop. But she didn't like it. And I thought to myself, well, you should have taken a different workshop after lunch, take one that was more interactive. I think that was one of her things. She wanted a lot more experiential or interactive pieces in it. And, it was a fair criticism. It just happened that the topic was not one that had a lot of energy behind it. And it would have been better in the morning. But anyhow, so don't be fearful of criticism or failure. The next thing it would be perfectionism or over-attachment. Well, if you have a business, that business is your baby. You've put your all into it. You've put sleepless nights. You've put time. You've put effort. Nobody's trying to run a failing business. Everybody's trying to do something that's good, that could be looked at and admired. But, that perfectionism could also lead to an over-attachment on it. And you don't want your baby criticized, all right? And you take it very personally. I know I have a friend who is in business, and whenever people reject her product, and when I say reject, I mean fail to buy it, she takes it personally. And I had to coach her and work with her and say, no, you can't take it personally. People didn't buy because it's not what they need. It's not what they need right now. It's not the right price point for them. All these things could be factors. You're fine. They love you. Your self-worth needs not to be tied up in whether they buy your product or not. So it's not a personal failure if, people don't buy it. So people sometimes fear asking for evaluation because, again, they take it personally and they see it as part of their self-worth. Another reason is that idea of, if you tell me something, am I now going to have to change? Well, if people give you reasonable feedback, you should be open to change. Okay. And if you are resistant to change, then you're going to stick your hands in your ears. You don't want to hear it. It's like, no, 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 don't tell me anything. I don't want to do anything different. I love what I do. I go A, B, C, D, and I don't want to hear anything different. Well, you're not going to, an evaluation is not going to work for you. It's going to be a lost cause. You're not going to do anything about it because you're not open to changing. Now, here's the thing I want you to be aware of. If you engage in an evaluation process and if you want to have feedback about your process, your business, your product, you must overcome those three things: the fear of criticism, this over attachment to what it is that you're doing right at that minute and the way that you're doing it, and that idea that you may possibly have to make some changes. You have to deal with all those things. But if you could get past all those things, I really do encourage you to create some kind of evaluation for yourself. Whether you sell a service or a product, it's good to just put a little piece of paper in there saying, here is a QR code. Please go to this site. Just give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Evaluate on 2 or 3 things. That's an external evaluation. Let them evaluate maybe on the product, on the service, on the process of obtaining it, of maybe their interaction with you, if that happened in the course of them engaging with your service or product. Then also engage in that process of self-evaluation. Think about what it is that you need to do for yourself in terms of being more successful next year. Do you need to work more on your work-life balance, on your productivity? Do you need to work on those things? All those things together can make the difference between whether you're successful in the new year or not. If you're doing well this year and you think to yourself, it's all good, Allison, there's nothing that I need to change, everything is perfect. Well, I think you need to be evaluated by someone else. Let them confirm it. Take that challenge. If you feel everything is perfect and there's nothing else that should change in your product, your process, the way you're doing life and doing your business, then hey, get someone else to look at the same thing with you and see if they agree with you. If they agree with you, congratulations. If they don't, be open to change, be adaptable. Allow yourself to be able to have feedback from other people and don't take it personally. I love this verse in Galatians 6:4. It says, each one should test their own actions, then they can take pride in themselves alone without comparing themselves to someone else. An evaluation is not to see if you're better than the next guy. An evaluation is to see how you could make yourself better, how you could make your business better. You may be a 10 right now, maybe you could be a 10 plus next year. Let's see. Why don't you challenge yourself to do that? Thank you so much for spending the last 20-something minutes with me. I do want to share with you a testimonial that I received from Entrepreneur's Edge. And I was so happy to receive this testimonial. Oh, it's not staying up. Okay. But get feedback. That was the testimonial that came to me from the evaluation that I sent through. That's all I got for you. It's a half an hour live stream. I appreciate your time and I appreciate you sticking with me this long. And thank you so much for being part of my audience for this live stream. I hope you found value in it. If you did, please take a moment to like, follow, share, subscribe, whatever platform you listen to the live stream on. I pray that each of you finish your year strong in mind, body, spirit, and your finances. And I look forward to presenting more in 2025.